Hello and welcome to Too Many Movies, the podcast where we discuss DVDs, Blu-rays, and even the occasional VHS tape. I'm your host, Tal, and with me here today is the Ewok enjoyer themselves, Puff.
Oh, fuck you. You know I hate the little bastards. I'm actually suing for defamation right now. I'll see you in court, Hal.
Oh, well, as you can tell, this is the series finale of Too Many Movies. I will be sued out the asshole for this.
Yeah, sorry guys, I'm canceling this whole operation.
No.
Piers woke moralist, we'll see who cancels who.
The liberal media once again. No, just kidding. Anyway, welcome back, Puff. Happy May the 4th. Hopefully I'm going to upload this on May the 4th, because we're talking about a couple of Star Wars movies today. Well, Star Wars, quote unquote.
Quote unquote, like big quotes.
Yeah, like big quotes, the biggest quotes. So a little backstory. This was like a couple months ago, I think. I was in my local Bull Moose, which is a store I've talked about on the podcast. That's where I get a lot of my movies, actually. And I was in the DVD section, and I was in the S section, more specifically where the grouping of Star Wars movies on DVD were. And lo and behold, I found Star Wars Ewok Adventures on DVD. That's right. It's a double feature DVD with Caravan of Courage and The Battle for Endor. I saw it and I was like, holy shit, that's a Puff episode in the making. So I bought it. I held on to it for a little while. And then with May the 4th coming up, I was like, hey, you know, it'd be perfect is if me and Puff talked about the Ewok movies on the podcast. And so I said, Puff, we're talking about the Ewok movies. And you said, sure. And I watched both of them. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I did this to you. I'm sorry for ever doubting you, even a little bit, for wondering if you were just a little overreactive towards your hatred towards the Ewoks movies. Now, I will say, when you were saying like you thought the Ewok movies were some of the worst movies you've ever seen, I'm just like, sure. I believed you to an extent, but I was like, but it's a cheesy 80s Star Wars movie made for babies. How bad can these be? I'm sorry.
How bad could
Puff.
they really be?
I'm sorry, and I've done this to myself.
You trust me from now on. When I say something's dog shit, like it's dog shit. Because the thing is, I love dog shit movies and camp shit, and I can put up with a lot. But oh my god, those movies are so boring.
Yeah.
On top of having some of like the most mind-boggling things to ever be seen in a Star Wars thing, like things that just take you out of it immediately, and you're just like, what the fuck am I watching here?
I know. I get it.
Yeah, it's like,
oh my god, I get it now.
Yeah.
So, I guess if we're going to start anywhere, let's start with the first of the Ewok movies, that being specifically Caravan of Courage, or as Letterboxd calls it, the Ewok Adventure. Because I don't know. I don't know why there's two different ones. I think that's what it was
originally called on the TV special, maybe? The thing is, like, the version that at least I saw had Caravan of Courage, but maybe it's also using the, like, European title? I don't know, because I know in Europe, these were actually theatrically released, while in the Americas, they were television movies. Because, I stumbled upon these movies specifically because I had decided I was going to watch every single Star Wars movie, including anything like the Star Wars Holiday Special or any spin-offs. And I saw these two on Disney Plus, and I was just like, what the hell? I had never heard of these in my life. And they looked so campy. I knew they were going to be bad, but I did not know how bad when I was going into it.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's funny, actually. I unlocked a memory this week with watching these movies. I actually sort of knew they existed long before you did, because I remember reading in my Star Wars: The Ultimate Visual Guide book, released in 2005, after Revenge of the Sith, and I remember there's a section of the book. I'm flipping through it right now. Sorry. I used to fucking read this thing like for hours as a child. I'm like remembering.
Yeah.
I'm like looking through this. I'm like, holy shit! I was obsessed with this book.
Yeah.
90% of it is bullshit now, thanks to Disney.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude. I feel so bad for kids growing up with Star Wars in this generation, because the expanded universe pre the sequel trilogies was actually really interesting, and seeing like how they were building upon like the mythos into even more of like a pulp sci-fi thing. Like, people aren't gonna know about like Anakin Solo or anything like that. Like, I grew up reading those books, and it's kind of like weird that they've kind of been swept under the rug by Disney, except for the ones that they like.
Yeah, exactly. Like certain certain nuggets in there are considered canon, but not others. It's like, well, that's not fair, you know? It's like either all or none, I would say, but whatever. I guess it didn't really matter, because the sequels just didn't really improve on anything, but that's a conversation for another time.
Indeed.
But yeah, no, I remember being a kid, looking through this book and coming across the chapter on continuing the saga, and I'm like looking at it right now. There's like the actual Star Wars Ewok Adventures DVD cover, just in the book, talking about these movies. And I remember looking at it and being like, because so on the cover, that's like both children and Wicket are on the cover, as it's kind of like trying to be a Drew Struzan-esque floating head Star Wars poster. And even as a kid, I remember looking at that and being like, oh, that's lame looking. Like, why would anybody ever watch that? Well, 18 years later, here I am doing a podcast on those movies I called lame when I was 7.
And they still are lame.
And they still are lame. Yeah. We can go back to the book later on. I think we should actually talk about the movies. So yeah, Caravan of Courage. This was one I had not seen before. You had shown me and the crew Battle for Endor a while back.
Yeah, mainly just because that one had stuff going on and Caravan of Courage very much didn't.
So yeah, that's the first thing I want to get through. Caravan of Courage, nothing happens. Like, it is unbelievably empty. Like, nothing fucking happens at all. It is so boring. I'm like, what? Like, how is this real? How did anybody like tune in to TV or go to the theater? Apparently in Europe they went to a theater to watch this. Like, how did anybody watch this without falling asleep? Like, what?
Yeah, and like the other thing that drives me insane about this movie is like, I just know, like, I knew the moment that I heard Burl Ives' voice say, "Deep in the enchanted forest on the moons of Endor," I'm just like, oh no!
Oh no, yeah, that's a good point. Burl Ives narrates this movie. Sam the Snowman from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer narrates this for no reason. Like, he literally adds nothing as a narrator. He's not a character. He's not he never really introduces the movie, does he? He just sort of like talks over it like it's a nature documentary.
Yeah, no, he does. And while it works very well for the first part, because, you know, everything is in Ewokese, and so you're not really knowing what's going on, so it works decently enough. But once the human characters get introduced and he's still going, you're just kind of like, why didn't they just use subtitles and forego the narrator? It would have just made at least a more cohesive experience, if that makes sense.
I guess
rather
so.
than
I mean,
something that just takes me out of it. Like, there's so much in this movie that just takes me out of
yeah.
everything.
Do you think they added Burl Ives as a narrator as sort of like a lesson they learned from not having any subtitles or narration because of the Wookiees in the Star Wars Holiday Special? Like,
I do think so, but I think they learned the wrong lessons. I think
yeah.
they should have like thought like, hey, maybe people know how to read. You know, like I know that they had really tiny TV screens back in the 80s, but like your target demographic, kids, are gonna be sitting right at the TV.
Yeah, they're going to be sitting right there. Or, you know, like maybe have these characters articulate movement that's like a universal language, like, you know, because you're telling the story visually, because they're not speaking English, so you got to like tell the story
actually,
through visuals.
If they were aliens, like completely aliens, and they spoke like, I don't know, Huddies or something, like I'm just naming a language, okay? That's the only one I remember from the Star Wars universe, other than like, what is it, Common?
I think that's the only other language. So I was recently rewatching the prequels, and every time an alien spoke, even if it wasn't a Hutt, it was like every time they spoke, the subtitles said "speaking Hutt-ese," and I'm like, I didn't know that was the common like language in Star Wars. I thought every alien had a different language to them.
Yeah, it is very odd. But anyways, like if they had someone speaking a different language, and still having the same plot but with the narration over it, that could have also worked. And again, focusing more on like visual like storytelling with the actors' movements and such, then like the narrator could have worked, I think. But in this case, it's so jarring.
It is. I mean, especially because like I'm such a huge fan of the Rankin Bass Rudolph. I'm just like, that's literally just Sam the Snowman to me. So I'm just like, what are you doing here in Star Wars?
Yeah, the thing is, I kind of hate knowing actors now sometimes, just because while I love like their work, sometimes like in the case of Dune, 2021, I see Timothée Chalamet as like Paul Atreides, and I'm like, oh, that's Timothée Chalamet. I can't see him as Paul Atreides. He's Timothée Chalamet as Paul Atreides, and it's so frustrating sometimes.
No, I totally get that. You're just like, I recognize you, and it's just hard. It is hard. Even like the best actors, you're just like, it's you. You're in this, and no, I totally get that. You go ahead. You remember more about this than I do, I would hope.
Oh my god. First of all, I actually want to mention, like, one of the things that makes me laugh so hard about this movie is, like, some of the Ewok gibberish. Like, for instance, when they're asking about food, and, like, the kids are asking about food, and the Ewoks don't know what they're saying, they just go "Kush," and I'm just sitting there cracking up so hard because I'm just thinking of these furry little stoners on the moons of Endor, and it just sends me. Or fucking Wicket saying "freeze." Like, I literally, when I first watched it, I had to pause because I was laughing so hard. I just did not expect that to happen.
I know. It's just like, like I guess sometimes like just these general gibberish is just going to turn into actual words, but you're just, it's still so funny hearing like this come out of an Ewok of all characters.
Yes. Or also the earth animals on Endor.
Yeah.
Like, you guys don't understand. Like, they have literal ferrets, rabbits, goats, ponies, and they don't do anything to make them look more space-like. It's just a fucking earth goat chewing the rope. Like, I'm just like...
There's just llamas. Yeah, like, what are... Like, it totally takes you out of it. You're just like, all right, well, this is not Endor, or the forest moon of Endor. This is now just some ranch in California where they filmed. Like, this is so not Star Wars-y.
Yeah, and just the general tone, too. Like, they go for a more fantasy vibe with it. Like... Yeah. And it just feels so weird to have that with... Like, Star Wars has always had fantasy elements, but like
Mhm.
not to like, oh, this is a fairy tale, but Star Wars kind of way.
Yeah, no, this is literally just like it literally reminded me of like the 80s fantasy movies that I see get ripped apart on Mystery Science Theater 3000 a lot, just because the open spaces, the numerous forest shots, and then in the second movie there's a fucking castle. It's just like, all right, this is just like a stupid 80s fantasy movie. Like, this isn't Star Wars anymore. Like, you're
Yeah.
it's literally the cheapest shit, and it's really funny, but it's
Yeah.
really, really distracting.
And also don't forget the desert on the moon of Endor, the forest moon of Endor, which I would assume would have like a universal climate from like looking at it from space at least. But
Yeah,
no, there's just a random desert here for some reason.
there's just a desert. Yeah, great.
It's like it drives me insane like how little thought was put into any continuity with the Star Wars like canon at all, despite
Yeah.
it being a spin-off.
Despite it being written by George Lucas, he wrote the story for this movie and the next one. So like, George, this is your universe. Like, you're the guy. Like, why are you getting these basic things wrong?
I literally think like the Ewok movies were just something he wanted to make for his kids, because I feel like every time he tries to make things specifically for kids, they always turn out this way. Like, for instance, he tried making a kids movie, an animated movie in 2015 called Strange Magic, and it is also incredibly weirdly written.
I remember that.
Like
I never saw Strange Magic, but I remember seeing trailers for it, because they were like releasing trailers for it in like January or February of 2015. And I remember it being like, from the imagination of George Lucas. And I remember thinking to myself, being like, oh, how unfortunate, George. You sold Star Wars and now you're working on this. But
see,
then again,
at the time, I was such a such a George Lucas fangirl. I was kind of interested, and while I never saw the movie myself, I know a lot more about it than most people, because for some weird reason, I know this is off topic, but it had a strangely large following on Tumblr in 2015 and 2016. Like, I had a couple mutuals who were really into that movie, and I don't know why.
it strangely reminds me of Epic, like thinking back, like the animation style. Like, I think I get that and Epic kind of confused with each other. Just because they have that like general fantasy look to them, but I couldn't tell you which one is better. Well, one, I've only ever seen Epic. I have not seen Strange Magic.
I have been blessed to have seen neither, but maybe I should.
Maybe you should. Maybe you should steal James's Blu-ray copy of Epic.
Yeah, I'll steal his Blu-ray copy of Epic and replace it with the Blu-ray copy of Strange Magic. He won't suspect a thing.
The perfect crime.
It's the same movie. I don't actually know if it's... I think... No, because Strange Magic was like a riff of like Midsummer Night's Dream, but we should probably actually get back to the fucking Ewoks.
Yeah, to the Ewoks, yeah. We're not going to turn this into a Red Letter Media Star Wars Holiday Special video where we're just like going on tangents being like, oh, let's not talk about the Holiday Special. God, I missed the Holiday Special.
God.
But anyway, yeah, no, Ewoks, Caravan of Courage, fucking, yeah, it's, why did the movie like start halfway through the movie? Like, the plot doesn't start until halfway through the movie. I realized when watching it, because I'm just like, because it's just like what, like a bunch of Ewoks and the kids like just fucking about at the beginning of the movie, but then they go to the Ewok village. What happens again?
Okay, like, if I remember correctly from my 2 times watching it, where it went one in through one brain and out the other, partially because I wasn't paying attention half of the time and it was like scrolling through Twitter because it was that boring. But at the same time, it was like the family crashes and you see the parents looking for their kids, then they get kidnapped by the big bad monster, then the kids are then the Ewoks are fucking about with a hang glider. Then the kids find the Ewoks. the little girl, Sindel, gets sick. I can't believe I fucking remembered her name.
Oh yeah, Sindel. She gets sick.
And Mace, who I would like to headcanon, is named after Mace Windu, because he's also a little shit.
Mace Windu. Yeah, the kid's name is Mace, and I'm just like, Mace Windu? And then this white kid comes up, I'm like, no, not Mace Windu.
So different one. But yeah.
Different Mace.
Sindel gets sick, they heal her, and then they're like, we need to find her parents, and then the shaman gives them a bunch of different items, and then some other items that, basically, why do I remember so much of this? Well,
you're bringing all this back. I'm like, oh yeah, that did happen, because I remember now.
Yeah,
but I forgot.
Like, because the thing is, I forgot all of it when I, like, rewatched it. I was like, oh, I forgot about these items that they all have, these magical items that I don't know, they did things, like, but they weren't very impressive. And then they have to, like, recruit 2 other Ewoks, and there's, like, a bunch of different, like, pissing contests that are really underwhelming, and I barely remember. I remember there was an axe throwing contest where they only threw, like, 1 axe, and the guy was just like, yeah, okay, I'll go. The Ewoks just, yeah, I'll go. And I don't remember what the High Priestess Ewok was, like, pissing contest was, but, like, she eventually joins the team. They stop by a river, and then Mace gets stuck under the river for reasons. And
it's a magical river.
It's a magical river. He nearly drowns, but Wicket saves him with his magical item, a walking stick.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, and so pulls him out of the water. Then, this is the one that weirds me out the most, is, like, I forgot what they called them, but they basically were, like, little fairies. And they fucking, like, are, like, swarming a Mace. And then they all go to Sindel's candle. And so you're like, oh, is this a threat? But then one's staying, and they're like, oh, look at it, it's so cute, it feeds off of giggles. So I'm like, did you just kill all those guys? And then you spared this one. And
the Giggle Fairy.
The Giggle Fairy. They killed the Giggle Fairies. There was a Giggle Fairy genocide we saw on screen, and they kept one for their entertainment. That's the only thing I can parse, because they don't explain what the fuck is going on, or what the threat was with the fucking Giggle Fairies.
The fucking Giggle Fairies, yeah. And then they're giggling, and they're just like, oh, Giggle Fairies. I'm like, what the actual, like, what is, like, Giggle Fairies? Like,
yeah.
Where's that in the Force?
Yeah. Oh shit, I forgot. Before they left, they also got attacked by a monster. And they're like, they actually, okay, I will admit, the stop motion animation effects are not bad, and I can imagine, like, some kid watching this on TV and being like, yo, this effect is so fucking cool. Like, because the thing is, I actually have such a soft spot for, like, old TV, like, special effects. Because because old TV just did not have the budget that they do now. And so it's really interesting seeing what they do with the limited budget that they have. Sorry for bringing up Dune again, but the Dune miniseries is also like this, and it's kind of awesome. Why I love the Dune miniseries. Please watch the Dune miniseries. It's all on YouTube. It's so campy. It's so much fun. Yeah. Anyways,
God, I completely forgot about the stop motion, like, horse bear creature that they come across, because I was pissing myself laughing at that scene, because it's just these stupid teddy bears, like, hitting this stop motion creature.
Yeah, they're just hitting it, and you can kind of see the green screen too. And so you're just like, they're just kind of whacking at it, and it's just like, it's like kind of funny, but it's also like, man, that actually probably was really cool for television at the time.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
And then they had another stop motion monster that they fought that I always checked out when they were found, because basically, we'll get to that. So the next part, they go to the desert that I fucking screamed about earlier, and there's a big wall with, like, a bunch of rocks, and they don't know where to go. And Mace's item was just a fucking rock. And so he, like, threw it away, but Wicket picked it up, because Wicket was like, I'm not gonna let this asshole kid ruin everything.
Yeah, exactly.
There's probably some lesson to be had, but it's not really expanded on at all.
Always trust rocks.
I think the lesson is never throw anything away. You must hoard everything. You must keep everything saved on your computer. No, you cannot delete. If your hard drive is full, get a new one. I'm joking. But
way ahead of you on the hoarding. That's
but no, then he smashes the rock and it has an arrow. It was actually like a geode with a arrowhead inside that points them to the fucking cave entrance that's covered with rocks. And then this is the thing that drives me insane. And me and my girlfriend, because I was watching the first one with my girlfriend while they were coding, and they were just like, what the fuck is this the entire time, as they're like kind of looking at the screen. What are you watching? But Mace has like a blaster that he hasn't been using because I guess they run on charge, which I don't know why. I assumed they had like infinite batteries, but I did.
Yeah. I thought that too.
The thing is, he's like, okay, we have enough charge, and so he pulls the trigger, and it's just a straight up flat stream of lasers that blows out the door. And the thing that said to me is that it's a flat stream. Like, if they can do that, why aren't the stormtroopers doing that? Why isn't everyone doing that? Like, why, when Han Solo encountered that huge group of stormtroopers, didn't pull out his gun and just whoosh it with the fucking long stream?
Yeah.
But like, wait, I thought they were like machine guns. Like, you held them and they went pew 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 pew.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what is that?
What is the science behind these laser guns? Well, I was even gonna say like, oh, they have this giant rock in the way. Oh, is this how they're gonna like implement the Force or something? Like, is Mace or Sindel gonna find out they're like Force sensitive? No, they just blow it the fuck up with the fucking laser.
Like, these kids are not special at all. They're not Jedis. They are just normal ass kids. And while I kind of like, the thing is, I kind of appreciate that they're normal ass kids, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah. But
at the same time, like, when the movie has nothing to it, like, you're like, But yeah, and then they find their parents, and then they're in a cave, and they fight the big monster, and...
Oh, I actually remember something you didn't.
Oh shit, what did you remember?
So before they find their parents, they have to cross, they have to get, so they're in the cave, but before they get to their parents, they have to trek this spider web, which is so obviously just like a net you'd see at like a high school gym, but it's also covered in cobwebs, and they have to trek across it, and then this haunted house ass looking spider comes down.
Oh yeah, I remember the spider now. Just this huge ass fucking spider, like they're ripping off Shelob's lair from Lord of the Rings, or however you pronounce her name.
I don't remember, but yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, just like this giant spider on strings, just like being puppeted around, and the Ewoks are just like, back. It's so funny because you can see the strings. It was so funny. That was another part of the movie. I was just like, what are you doing, George? I was just like, oh my God, the fake looking spider scene. I was like losing my mind. Okay, yeah, and then they find their parents.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Then they find their parents. Yeah, and this is the part where I always check out because at this point I'm so bored of the fight scenes. I just like, okay, so I guess they beat the monster. Let's see how Elon is destroying the Hell Site today. Like,
yeah, exactly. Funny thing about their parents, the dad in this movie is played by an actor named Guy Boyd. I believe that's how you say his name. Let me just double check that. Guy Boyd. He is the janitor from I'm Thinking of Ending Things, which is a very different movie from the first Ewok movie, I must say, but equally as horrific, I will say that.
Yeah, I've heard about it. I haven't seen it yet, though.
It's been a while, but I remember liking it a lot. A lot more than Caravan of Courage, I must say.
I think that's like a low bar. Like, the bar is in the Marianas Trench right now.
It is. Yeah, it is. Yeah. But yeah, they find their parents, and then they... Oh, so it's like... So what's that creature? It's like the Gorax. I remembered that because I'm like, the Gorax, I speak for the trees. The Gorax is like this minotaur looking creature, and they like defeat him. He falls down the trench. They're like hugging their parents, and then the Gorax comes back, and then they defeat him again. He falls down the trench again. And then they're hugging their parents. And I was thinking, me and my friends, when we were watching this, we're just like, oh, is the Gorax going to come back like a third time? Because that's just what it was setting it up to be like. But yeah, no. So the Gorax was like the main villain. I completely forgot that.
Oh my god, yeah. Now I'm just sitting here like, now I'm headcanon that, you know when the Lorax grabs his ass and floats into the sky? I think he just went to Endor, mutated because of his anger and hatred towards the destruction of the trees on Seuss Earth, I guess.
Yeah, Seuss Earth.
And became the Gorax.
The Gorax.
You know, because he grew horns and started
Gorax. Oh god, wow. I'm surprised we actually remembered this much about this stupid fucking movie.
I am too, because like when I think of it in my brain, like it's just
empty.
like it's empty. Like it's nothing. No moment really like stands out because everything is equally hollow.
Yeah, exactly. It's just so boring. Occasionally, Burl Ives chimes in. It's just like Wicket here and Deej and the other Ewoks. It's just like, who cares?
Oh, yeah. Deej nuts got him.
Deej nuts. Oh God. All right. Is there anything else you have to say about Caravan of Courage?
The only thing I have to say is, if you watch it because of this, you're a masochist, but I respect you greatly. If you were somehow peeked into seeing like how empty this movie is, like, go for it, but like,
yeah,
we mean it when we say there's nothing.
There's nothing. Like, there is more to Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones than there is to the Caravan of Courage. I always hear people say like those movies are like some of the most boring Star Wars movies ever, and to be fair, sometimes they are, but like there's a lot more to those movies compared to this one.
And you know what? I will say one other thing about Caravan of Courage. I like it better than Rise of Skywalker.
I do too.
Unlike that movie, it made me feel things.
Yeah.
It wasn't good things.
No.
It made me hate Ewoks. You know, I hate them, and not just the men, but the women and the children too.
Yeah, me too. We're not even. We still have a whole other movie to get through, but I was already anti-Ewok after watching this one.
It's okay because there is a bit of glorious respite when it comes to the next movie, Battle of Endor.
Yeah, so the next Ewok movie is the Battle for Endor. Was there a battle? I remember there was like fighting at the beginning.
There was a battle at the end. It was very underwhelming, but there was a battle.
Okay, so it's not totally false advertising.
Actually, it is false advertising, because on the poster for the movie, there is a young man in the middle of the poster, and you do not see him anywhere in this. Like, he's like there, and he's like holding up like a blaster with the other Ewoks around. That man, I'm telling you now, he's not in the movie. You don't see him anywhere. It is actually false advertising. Like, the Battle for Endor's there, but that guy isn't.
Yeah, wait a minute. Who is that guy? Because he looks nothing like Mace. Now, okay, well, first of all, Mace fucking dies in like the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Spoiler! I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, I trust me. Like, because I already knew. Because like we watched this before I watched Ewok. So like when we were originally watching Battle for Endor, and I see these people like getting blown up and killed, and you're just like, yes, kill. I'm just like, whoa, what did these people do to you in the last movie? And then I watched. It's like, oh, they did nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
other
he fucking
than
died.
having some of the worst child acting I've ever seen, and not even in the endearing way, like in Dinosaur Hotel. It's just annoying.
Yeah. I was wondering about these kids. I'm like, do they have like producer parents where like they're just like, George, please put my child in this movie or in these Ewok movies and make them the main characters? And then George was like, I want to put in the Goongas, but he hadn't invented Goongas yet, so they had to put in the child actors. I'm like wondering that, because like, who are these kids and why did they get to be main characters in a Star Wars movie?
Actually, here, let me go into IMDb and I'm going to look up the Battle of Endor. And I'm at least going to look at just Sindel, because Sindel is the only one that survives.
That's true, because I guess, maybe like test audiences didn't approve Mace. They were just like, get him out of here. I'm sure that kid was just
Miller.
like...
I actually feel really bad for this kid just because Star Wars fans are insane.
Yes.
Oh shit, she's kind of hot now. What the hell? She kind of has like that, here, if it would let me fucking copy and paste this image, please. Here, I'll just take a screenshot.
Sure.
Here.
This is great podcasting.
Don't I don't know, she kind of gives me like Jennifer Tilly vibes.
Oh yeah, she does.
And I think Jennifer Tilly is an absolute MILF. Like, bark, bark, bark.
Yeah.
So, she okay, so let's see. She has only done 3 movies, and one of them was just as a chorus dancer in Not Another Comedy Musical, which is a short in 2021. She, the other things is apparently she was in the editorial department for a movie called The Message from 2012. And they have a soundtrack listing for her singing My Star really badly. Oh my god, that's we'll get to the end of it though.
Yeah.
So wow, these are just some random ass kids.
She's had a real distinguished career, huh?
Real distinguished career.
I mean, where could you go after Ewoks, man?
Anywhere but up.
Anywhere but up. I agree. Yeah. So anyway, Mace dies. The mom died. Well, the mom dies before we even see her. Like, we see her corpse. She's
dead. Like, she's movie
fucking dead.
Is actually weirdly dark. Like,
I know.
It starts out her whole family's dead, and actually, there are theories that this is George Lucas's response to the divorce between him and his wife at the time. He was just trying to get through it by fucking killing his entire family.
Gotta kill my family. They wouldn't let me use the Goongas.
Absolutely.
She took the Goongas in the divorce.
It's not the only conspiracy theory I have about this film. The one I have is completely original, but we'll get to that later because it'll be more relevant later.
Sure. But the mother's dead, Mace is dead, the father, who's now played by Dwayne from Die Hard, is dead. Because he's not the one who got butt fucked on national TV, Dwayne. I love that line from Die Hard. I try to implement it as much as possible. But anyway, this movie. So the family dies. So it's just Sindel and Wicket. Wicket, by the way, looks fucking terrifying in this movie.
Oh my god, his eyes are lifeless. They stare into... Actually, in these entire movies, that is the one thing I've noticed. Those eyes stare into your soul. They are terrifying. They're not nearly as endearing as the ones that you see. I don't know why they're not. I don't know what they did to the eyes of those costumes, or maybe it's just because we have so many scenes that are very close up to them, but they are just unnerving. Those are lifeless eyes, a doll's eyes,
and what's worse is the mouth moves too, and he speaks English in the movie randomly.
Yeah,
he doesn't speak English in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, that's the other thing is the continuity of these movies don't necessarily make sense. I don't really know where they fit on the timeline. Because, if it's before Return of the Jedi, because apparently they'd never seen humans before or something. I don't know. I can't remember enough about these movies. Then they were taught English to an extent because of the family living there, but then they don't know any English in Return of the Jedi. That doesn't make sense. But if this happens afterwards, I don't think it really makes sense either. It's like the place that this fits in the continuity just isn't clear.
Yeah, no, it's not. So you know what? It's not canon. It never existed.
It never existed.
It never existed. That takes care of that.
That takes care of that.
Oh, but anyway, so I think the other thing that this movie, I say improve upon, but like, I use that term very lightly because this movie's better, but like, not really.
Yeah, the only thing, like, how do I put it? The thing that really makes this movie better is that there's just stuff going on, like there's an actual plot, but that's about it, because what's in the plot, when it doesn't make you feel mind-bogglingly confused, it's just boring.
Yeah, exactly. But there's like more characters in this one. There's what's the villain's name? I don't know. Actually, I don't remember. And you know what? I'm glad I don't remember because I don't care.
Who are you talking about again?
The villain, the
villain. I actually don't remember
creature?
his name either. I really don't. He is just the space goblin.
Yeah, space goblin.
Or,
that's
actually he
that's
looks more
name.
like space orcs. Actually.
Okay,
like,
yeah, space orc. Space orc leader. He's in this.
There's a fucking human witch. In this
there's just a
movie
human
as well,
witch
who is kind of hot. Actually,
she is kind of hot, but like a witch, not a Sith, not a Jedi, not a what was Asajj Ventress's cult in the Clone Wars called? The Sisters of something?
I forgot. I can look it up though.
Yeah.
I really forgot. The Night Sisters.
That's the Night Sisters. That's what it was. It's a coven of witches that lived in the mysterious world of Dathomir.
Just for shits and giggles, because I want to look up the witch from Battle of Endor, because I just want to see what she's described as.
Yeah, because she's just a witch, like not like a witch in the Night Sisters kind of sense, but like a witch, in like a fantasy setting, as if this takes place in a fantasy world in one of those generic fantasy. Oh, breaking news!
She's a fucking Night Sister.
Wait,
she's a Night Sister, apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I guess she is like the proto Night Sister.
She's a proto Night Sister. That's stupid.
It is, because it's like, I feel like they're completely different.
Yeah, they're completely different. She's not bald.
She has a magic ring.
She has a magic ring
that allows her to like transform into other things.
Yeah,
like she turns into a crow quite often, or a raven. I can never tell the difference.
Blackbird, yeah. Wow. Okay, so she is a Night Sister, but she can use magic, and it's like a red hue to it, like the magic. It's like, okay, do the Night Sisters use the Force? I don't remember.
God, I don't remember either, but I know that I think it's its own thing. Let me look it up. Like now this is just confusing me.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, this is this is good. This is good.
So let me see.
I'm glad we're learning
something. Skills
something.
and training. They were Force wielders, but they were known to wield different power compared to other Force wielders because they're derived from incantations and spells.
Right.
They underwent training as kids to have power over magic. Okay. So, yeah. Okay, I'm just kind of like reading some of the lore. And yeah, so it's like basically they're Force wielders, but instead of using their brain, they use spells, I guess, and it's different somehow. IDK Squid Games.
Yeah, this is like way too much for Star Wars, man. Like, this like Star Wars is the Force. I don't know, like the fact that they're like implementing like witches and stuff. I don't know, maybe it's explained better in Clone Wars. I guarantee it's explained better in Clone Wars than it was in here.
Everything is explained better in Clone Wars now.
Exactly,
I've seen some episodes and I don't remember much about the Night Sister episodes that I did watch. But I know it was a lot different than what we see here.
I mean, yeah. So this stupid fucking witch character is just melting my mind in Star Wars canon.
Yeah, honestly, the biggest thing about this movie is it takes the harder fantasy lean than you ever have before. Because
there's literally a castle.
There's literally a castle, there's a witch, there's space orcs. Like, it's like they really leaned into, like what you said, the bad 80s fantasy movies. Like, no wonder nerds got bullied. Like, if my ass was, like, seeing a kid at school and they had, like, an Ewoks lunchbox, and then I'm like, okay, like, that's fine. But then I go home and then I turn on ABC television and then that movie's on. I check it out for 5 minutes, it's dog shit. I'm shoving that kid in the locker.
Me too.
No, I'm just joking. Man. Don't. Bullying is bad.
Yeah. Please don't. No, don't do that. No, do that. Anyway, fuck. So yeah, there's a castle. There's a witch. Diabetes Man is in this. Yeah. Wilford Brimley.
He plays a grumpy old man who says probably one of my favorite lines in the entire movie, which is, "Now these kids are gonna cause nothing but trouble. What if they want to be friends or something?"
That's right.
And it's like, what?
Yeah.
To hear that out of like a grouchy old man is like one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. Like, I feel like in a cartoon it would kind of make sense, but just seeing a real ass grown man with his weird little alien speed boy pet alien Sonk the Honk. But not really if, like, Sonk the Honk looked like a monkey and was white.
Yeah. It's like, how is this Star Wars anymore? Like, this is just, like, it's so far removed from Star Wars at this point. You're
and
just
honestly, Noah's such a dick because, like, those kids went to this house and, like, they made food in the house. And he eats the food that they made after he kicked them out. And then they have the muffins.
Kicks the little girl out.
Yeah, he kicks them out in the cold. And,
in the
like,
cold.
And then, like, he's eating their muffins, and he tells his little Sonk the Honk monkey to not give them any. And I'm just sitting there like, bitch, that's their food. They made it. Like, at least give them that.
He kicks the little girl out
She's
into
like
the forest
5
at night in this forest where there's fucking space orcs and witches and creatures of all kind. Apparently, like, it's not just Ewoks on the forest moon of Endor. There's like these fucking monsters everywhere. Like, it's like he kicked the little girl out.
Like, how heartless can he be? And then he's just like warms up after like 5 minutes, and
he's just like, oh, the plot's telling me to warm up now,
and like being like, it's gonna be okay, even though both of your parents are dead. Like, and like also there is like, I don't remember how long the scene goes, where Sindel sings a little lullaby that her mom used to sing, and not only is the lullaby, like, song bad, but the way that she sings it, because this is a, like, 5-year-old singing it, it's, oh, God, like, people make fun of, like, American Tail Somewhere Out There, or that one song from Tom and Jerry, but I can guarantee you, this is worse.
This is worse, yeah.
It's worse.
It probably is. You said you had like a conspiracy theory about this movie.
Yeah, it is specifically about the castle. So I have a theory that castle is actually the castle from Willow, that one Lucasfilm fantasy movie that came out in the 90s, because I looked at the timeline and it, like, Willow came out, I think, early 90s. This was, like, came out in 87, and I just swear to God, like, I feel like they were like working on building it, and they were just like, oh, let's just see if we can get anything else out of this, and they just threw it in there. They're just like,
yeah,
hey, we already have this, we already have like a bunch of fantasy stuff, let's make another Ewoks movie, and we can use the castle, and so we can get a bit more bang for our buck.
yeah, that would make sense. I confirmed the dates. So Ewoks Battle for Endor was 85. Willow was 88.
Okay, so it was a 3-year difference. I just got the dates wrong.
Right, but no, you were probably still on the money with that, because that's probably what it is.
It's just I know it's such a crazy conspiracy theory, and I could be completely off, but like, because I don't know how long the development time for Willow was,
right?
But I don't think I want to know. I want to believe.
No.
I want to believe that they just put that in
believe
as
too.
a cost-cutting measure.
Yeah. Oh God, this stupid movie.
Yeah, and then there's a scene where there's a fucking unicorn because the witch lady turns her horse into, because there of course are earth horses on Endor. This is a well-known fact at this point. And apparently unicorns exist inside of the Star Wars mythos too. Okay, cool, whatever. And like she lures Sindel out pretending to be her mom to kidnap her because we forgot to mention, but the reason why the Ewoks camp was attacked by space orcs is because the space orc wants something called the power, which I guess I honestly I forgot exactly what it was, but I think it was like a way to power a ship. So
it's like a ship battery or something, right?
And conquer more planets. I don't really remember because this movie is that boring and nothing made sense. But yeah, and so Sindel is kidnapped, and then Noah, the old diabetes guy, Sonk the Honk Monkey, and Wicket are going to save her, and also the other Ewoks that were captured, because basically the whole village was captured by the space orcs.
I remember. Vaguely, but I remember.
It is kind of weird how maybe it's just because of all the vignettes scenes instead of in the case of this movie where I can remember a clear timeline. Well, this one I remember more events, but the timeline is muddy.
Yeah, no, I agree completely.
Yeah,
I'm
and there's something
boat.
in the moat too, when they're breaking in.
Oh,
there's
a
little moat monster that you never see.
Yeah, you never see it. You never see it. I just realized that. Yeah, you never see it because that would have cost too much, I guess. So they just blew bubbles into the water, and it's just oh, there's a monster under there.
Yeah, basically. I at first I thought it was acid. I don't know why I thought it was acid. And then Wicket's feet touch the water, and of course I'm not seeing little teddy bear gore feet hanging there.
Honestly.
So I was like, oh, it's a monster? Huh, okay.
Honestly, that probably would have been cheaper if they were just be careful, the moat's full of poison. They wouldn't even have to have made any movement.
Where the rope gets really close to the water, and he's holding it really close, and
it burns.
Yeah, just a little, it singes a little bit of his shirt, and then Noah's pulling him up. That would have been cheaper, actually. What the hell?
Yeah. I guess every threat in Star Wars has to be a creature, even if you can't show it on screen, I guess.
I guess.
Stupid fucking Ewok movie.
And also, the space orc king talks to Sindel, is yo, 5-year-old, tell me the power, because you're 5, so you know everything.
Yeah, why do they assume she knows?
Yeah, she's only twee, What? Yeah, she's gonna know so much about the power. Dude,
even the witch thinks. Even the witch thinks.
And it's insane to me because, honestly, if I needed help trying to find something, I wouldn't ask the 5-year-old first, especially when it comes to I guess ship batteries, IDK.
I would ask the old man who apparently has been fixing a ship for ages, because that's something Noah does, right? He has a ship.
Yeah, he has a ship that he basically crash landed on with his friend who also like died, and that's why he's grumpy and doesn't want to be friends at first.
Oh, is that what happened? I didn't remember that.
Yeah,
I didn't remember he had a friend.
He has a dead friend.
He has a dead friend. I don't remember. Is that the boy on the poster? That's his dead friend.
Yeah, the one we never see. Like, like never mind. It's false. It's false advertising. I was wrong. There he is. It's a skeleton.
Yeah, it's a skeleton.
I actually don't remember. I think it was a skeleton or something. I don't know. I don't remember if they showed his body at all. I
don't remember anything.
But yeah, and then
the more I'm trying to remember, the more I'm forgetting.
I do admit, like, I'm also like struggling because, like, I know that the Orc King was like mad at the witch because she couldn't get the 5-year-old to tell him about complex adult things, and so he also locks her in prison.
Yeah, so she gets put away, even though she's a witch. Oh, that's right, because he just takes her ring off and she lets him take her ring off. It's like,
yeah. And then he does it again and traps her as a crow.
Yeah, should have learned the Force, idiot, I guess.
Yeah, skill issue. Couldn't be me.
Oh god. How does this movie end again? Does it end with like
it ends with like a fight because basically
it ends with the battle for Endor.
Yeah. Well, because basically what happens is there's a big jailbreak, and so there's a big fight in the castle as the Ewoks try to escape, and then the orcs follow them into the forest, and I think the big climax is like they fix the ship, and so they're able to use the ship's lasers, maybe? Like God, I don't remember. Okay, I'm gonna look up a plot summary for the Battle of Endor now because I literally like tapped out. Like I was just
me too.
It's just like nothing is staying in my brain. What is going on?
I know. Like I'm struggling myself to remember.
Okay. Not Battle of Endor. Battle for Endor.
Well, like it matters. It's Ewoks 2.
Also, I have like the best extension on my computer. So basically, whenever I search things up, it makes little Animal Crossing noises.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Anyway, sorry. I just wanted to mention that because
no, that's fine.
That was making me giggle.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Battle for Freedom. Everyone reaches the village at nearly the same time. Noah tells the Ewoks to defend against the Saniasins. I guess that's what they're called. The space
Saniasins?
I guess. I'm calling them space orcs. Fuck that.
Yeah, space orcs. Yeah, space orcs.
The Ewoks, okay, so yeah, Noah's like, getting his ship ready. Yeah, it was a power converter for the ship. So it was a ship battery.
Oh, power converters from Tashi Station.
Yeah. But he has trouble getting it to work. The Ewoks prepare to fight, and then the space orcs fight. I like how they word it in the article.
Yeah.
The Ewoks fight the Sanyasin, I don't know, army.
Space orcs.
Yeah, Space Orcs army with combination of their own techniques and ingenuity combined with the use of Noah's catapult. Yes, that's exactly, that's how I would describe it too.
It's the precursor to the Battle of Endor on Return of the Jedi when they're using the logs and whatnot.
Okay, and then Sindel gets captured, and he has the Ewoks tell Noah he'll trade Sindel for the power supply. Noah confronts Tarak and they engage in a duel. Okay, I did not remember that.
I remember that. That's like it's Wilford Brimley, who's Wilford Brimley, the diabetes man, and this tall skeletal looking orc, and they're just hitting each other with sticks, essentially.
I was way off. Oh my god.
Yeah, not lightsabers.
Dude,
not lightsabers, sticks.
Yeah,
just like Wilford Brimley
using
has
his sword and Noah using his walking stick. And then Sindel urges Wicket to do something, and he uses his sling to shoot a rock at the ring hanging around Turok's chest, which causes him to turn to ash. Okay.
Oh, yeah, he turns into like a statue, or wait, yeah, he becomes like no, he like hardens, he freezes, and becomes like he becomes ash. What?
Yeah. And then the witch flies away as a she was a raven. And,
okay, it was a raven.
Then the ship is now operational, so basically Sindel and Noah are leaving the planet, and they say goodbye to like Wicket and Teak. Who is,
they have to go now.
Teak is the name of Sancta Honk Monkey, who I was mentioning earlier. I just forgot his name, which it makes sense because it's Teak. How would I remember that? Like, I'm sorry.
Teak. What
it's such a generic name. I could not remember that, and they don't even say it that much. I don't think.
No, I think they're just like.
Unlike Sindel and Wicket, Sindel. Wicked! Sindel!
Yeah.
Like, they ram
back
it.
and forth.
Yeah.
Oh, God. That's, yeah. So, yeah, the villain turns to dust, and then Noah and Sindel just quite randomly are just like, all right, bye. And then they leave. And then that's the end of the Ewok duology.
Yeah, pretty much. And I'm so glad they never made another one. Actually, I think if I remember correctly, there was going to be a third one. But I'm gonna look through. I'm gonna look through here to make sure. I'm gonna actually go to the Ewoks Battle for Endor Wikipedia because that will probably be a little bit faster than the wiki.
Yeah, I will say I remember when we were about to start watching the first Ewok movie. When I looked it up with my buddies in Discord, we were like, oh. It came out in 1984, the year of other great movies. We looked up 1984 movies, and the Ewok movie was one of the first options, like one of the first results for 1984 in film. And I'm like, Google, you son of a bitch! Like, stop listening in on our conversations. But not only that, the runtime for the Ewok movie was 3 hours and 10 minutes, and we were like, whoa, wait a minute. It turns out that's just like what happens when you combine the two movies is that it becomes 3 hours and 10 minutes if you watched it as one long movie.
Yeah, I wouldn't make you guys suffer for that long, I promise.
No.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything on it, but I swear I've heard about it. That this one got canned so hard by like ratings and reviews that it didn't that it canceled a third one.
I mean, for the best. I mean, I barely survived 2 of these. Third one, no way.
Yeah, absolutely. Because these are just mind-boggling. But the thing is, with Battle of Endor, I don't see it as completely useless watching in the same way I do Caravan of Courage. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like it's like the perfect, like if you get your friends together to have a laugh in the same way as like the Star Wars holiday special where you just talk over it.
Yeah.
It is, you have a good time because it just makes no sense, especially when you're really into Star Wars. You're just like, what is this? Yeah. What's going on here? It's a fun laugh, even if it is horrifically boring and sometimes annoying.
This movie is made for Star Wars and non-Star Wars fans alike because they'll both be equally confused.
Exactly, actually. It's a thing that'll bring us together.
Yeah. It'll make world peace.
If Disney made stuff like this instead of, I don't know, the Book of Boba Fett, I think that would actually be, I think it would be a net win. The thing is, despite everything, I loved the campiness of vintage Star Wars spin-offs. Mm-hmm. Like, they're bad. Mm-hmm. Like, and some of them are mind-baffling, like the Star Wars Christmas album. But it felt like there was still some heart to it. Like, in the case of this, like, the Ewoks movies, I kind of think of them like, although not in the same high regard as Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
No, of course not.
Something like someone made for their kids.
Yeah.
But like in the case of like Disney, it's just they have no imagination anymore, and so
No.
everything that they put out is soulless and too sterile. And Star Wars has always had a level of grit to it, not in like
Mm-hmm.
an edgy sense, but in a unpolished sense.
Yeah, it's always been kind of kitschy, like at worst, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's charming. Like you watch it and even when it sucks, it's funny. Um most of the time, obviously there are exceptions, of course, but like most of the time it's been you know, you can't really stay mad. Like, you know, I think back to like when people were like furious at the prequels,
Yeah,
like at that era.
exactly.
It's just like
And now it's like they're beloved just because of how silly and fun they are. Like you can
yeah.
just have a good time. And like people say, "Oh, it'll be that way towards the sequels." I don't think so. I don't
No.
think the sequels have enough personality to make for
No,
meme
yeah.
fodder. I think
I
the only
agree.
two memes I remember. No, there's like four memes and one is fandom specific. The fandom specific one is Glup Shido. Then there's the traitor meme, which was a brief meme for a period of time, which I still love. It's
I lulled. Yeah.
yeah. Then there's the live slug reaction, but the thing about live slug reaction is like that's it doesn't even feel like it's a Star Wars thing. It feels like
Yeah.
someone just rendered it to be
Yeah.
silly.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
there's the I don't care if blank wins, I just want blank to lose meme.
That's
Those
a
are
good
like
one.
that is a very good meme. But
Yeah,
those are
that's a
like the
good one.
four memes, and I don't think you can. If there was more to be memed off of from those movies, they would have been memed off of.
Exactly. Like, and you don't even use those as like in the context of Star Wars. Like
exactly.
the best Star Wars memes, the prequels, for example, have like line after line that you can apply within the context of the movies, but like you can also just apply to anywhere. Like it's limitless. The
It really is. Like I just
limitless.
have such a fun time. Like,
Yeah.
watching shit and I'm like quoting Star Wars like for like no reason because it's just a funny line to apply in that moment.
Yeah. No, I mean, here's the thing. Like I was when I
I
to
did it
bring
earlier, remember? Where I was like, I
yeah,
hate them and the women.
I hate and the children too. But you know, cuz like I was remembering when I was going through this book, you know, cuz I want to bring it back to the book, when I remembered, oh yeah, the first time I remember hearing about the Ewok movies was in this stupid book. But like after I found the page where I had originally found the Ewok poster in the book, like I was flipping through the other pages and I'm like reading through like these Star Wars facts and I'm like, oh my God, I remember when I used to be like obsessed with this book. And it's like, yeah, this is what Star Wars was to me as a kid. Just like this stupid book and like this weird universe that was really
Yeah.
messy but really funny at the same time.
No, exactly. Like
Yeah.
I didn't mention this earlier, but I didn't have that exact same book. But me and my brother had like Star Wars encyclopedias too about all the different characters. That's how Shakti became my favorite character for the longest
Mhm.
time because I saw her design and I was just in love with her. Like
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people's attachments to these very niche characters, like people don't understand that it came from kids reading these books because there was such a deep lore, and so you just see someone that you thought was cool and you would just kind of come up and they kind of
Yeah.
be like your own personal OC in a way. Like as like because like there was so little about them that you could kind of make your own lore, and like I feel like that is the joy of Star Wars, is like that ability to just like insert yourself into that world and just start playing, like reading the books about all the different kinds of weapons. Me and my brother, we'd love making Star Wars OCs for ourselves, and so we'd go through like the ones like a book of like of different alien species, and we would be like, yo, okay, so mine is gonna be this one, and then we go to the other book with the weapons and they're gonna use this weapon and they're part of this clan, and like, you know, and we'd go through those books and we'd just build OCs like days and days on end because it was just so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It's man. Yeah. No, I couldn't have said it better myself. Honestly, just this Stupid Ewok movie. This is
Yeah.
what it brings out
like
in us.
the thing is, like, the sequel trilogy, even like stuff like the Mandalorian, like those will never really be what Star Wars is to me.
Yeah, agreed.
Ewoks absolutely is. Like, Ewoks, like, for all of its flaws, and oh my god, like, again, you really should only watch these if you are the biggest Star Wars super fan and you are just so curious and dying to see, like, you know what you're getting into when you're watching vintage Star Wars.
Listen, the level, if you've gotten through the Star Wars holiday special like we have, then there's no other reason to check out. Like, you have to check out the Ewoks at that point. Like, you've gone as far as the holiday special, like, you'll be fine going through the Ewok specials.
Honestly, I kind of think that the Ewok specials are worse. Because the thing is, like, the holiday special, to me at least, has a special kind of 70s kish that I just adore. Like, it is something that could have only existed in that time.
Exactly.
And especially because, like, Star Wars wasn't just, like, for nerds. It was for everyone. There was a #1 single that was a disco remix of the Star Wars and Cantina theme. I'm not joking. This is actually a fact, because people wanted Star Wars that bad. So people were up there busting it up to a fucking disco remix of Star Wars.
Of Star Wars, yeah. I remember you said that, yeah. Yeah, so I was going to ask that, like, as kind of like a fun, like, oh, what do we prefer, the Ewoks or the holiday special? But, like, even, like, once I had finished Battle for Endor, I already knew. I'm just like, holiday special, man. Like, I love the holiday special. I think I've gone too far. I think it's too late for me. But
like, the thing is, like, it's such an ironic enjoyment because it is so bad, but it is, like, they would not do it today.
No, they wouldn't.
Disney plays it too safe.
No,
like,
they would.
It really is something that only could have existed from that time period.
Exactly.
So it feels like a very interesting time capsule of, like, what the culture was like in the 70s. Like, what were they interested in? Like, what did they, like, watch? Because variety shows were something that were very popular in the 70s. I feel like the Muppet Show is, like, the closest any pop culture will ever get to, like, that specific genre of shows that are still relevant. But it's still kind of here with the Star Wars Holiday Special in its full 70s kish.
Yeah. Well, that's, I guess, to tie it in with the podcast side of it, because, I do own the Ewoks movies on DVD.
I'm actually a little jealous, actually. I don't know why. I've just grown over time to have, like, a weird appreciation and love for these movies. Just because I think it's funny to, like, tell people, I've seen the Ewoks movies. They suck.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, as much convincing as you probably tried to, and as much as I tried to convince myself, I just can't keep this DVD in my collection.
Then send it to me, asshole. I'll keep it.
Honestly, yeah, I'll send it to you if you want, because, like, I don't want it. I have so I'm with you. When I think of Star Wars, I think of the kitschy shit, like the Ewok movies, but, like, I attribute that to more like the holiday special and like this book of just, like, random Star Wars facts and information about, like, the behind the scenes and, like, the lore aspects. Like, that's what Star Wars is to me. So, like, I'll keep the book. I've already kept the holiday special. It's still up on my shelf from episodes past. Like, it's staying there. But the Ewoks movies, unfortunately, is not something that's going to join. Would I ever watch them again? I mean, who knows? Maybe some wheel night down the line will be like, hey, let's watch the Ewoks again.
Like, for real.
So,
but yeah, they might not be on your shelf anymore, but they'll certainly be on mine.
Well, that's good. Honestly, that's good. That's all we can ask for.
Ewoks to a good home.
Ewoks they'll find themselves a good home. So, I guess before we wrap up, I wanted to read some of the what this book has to say about the Ewok movies, if you're okay with that.
No, absolutely. I'm very curious.
Okay, so Let me just. This is a very big book, so I'm just trying to like hold it in a interesting way that I can read it, and it's not like hitting my microphone. All right. Ewok Adventures, and this is a paragraph of text next to like what looks like the DVD of the Ewok Adventures. George Lucas executive produced 2 television features, The Ewok Adventure, Caravan of Courage, 1984, and Ewoks, The Battle for Endor, 1985, each of which premiered on ABC in the US and were released theatrically in Europe, as we had said. Lucasfilm approved timelines placed both stories before the events of Return of the Jedi. Okay, so that confirms it. While producer Thomas G. Smith noted that a young Ewok's wooden 2-legged walker toy is evidence that the Imperials had been there. Oh. Okay, so this book is already confusing me then. We're getting so 2 different timelines.
What?
Actor Warwick Davis reprised his Jedi role as the plucky Ewok Wicket W. Warwick in both films. The production design was by Joe Johnston. Hold on, I gotta confirm if it's the Joe Johnston. I have to confirm
that
this.
That reminds me of the one time where me and my brother my brother found like one of those Dragonheart sequels on Netflix, and we both laughed our ass off watching it because it said it was edited by Chuck Norris. Let me see if I can find it. Dragonheart 3.
But yeah, I can confirm it is the Joe Johnston I was thinking of. The same Joe Johnston who directed the original Jumanji, the Captain America First Avenger, the one from 2011, and Jurassic Park 3.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so the same Joe Johnston was the production designer for both Ewok movies.
Absolutely insane, actually.
Oh, but before you say your thing, I just want to finish this paragraph. It says, in both features won an Emmy Award for their special visual effects. The movies were released on DVD in 2005. So, yeah. Oh, and there's one more paragraph, actually, on the Tawani family, the family featured in the Ewok movies. Prequels to Return of the Jedi. Okay, so this book is flip-flopping between whether these are prequels or sequels to Return of the Jedi. This is really annoying me. The Ewok movies follow young Sindel Tawani, Aubrey Miller, her brother Mace, Eric Walker, and her parents Catherine and Jeremit, Fionnuala Flanagan, and Guy Boyd. Paul Gleaser played Jeremit in Battle for Endor. After they are marooned on Endor, Sindel teaches Wicket how to speak English, an ability he doesn't show when he meets Princess Leia.
I know!
Oh, I thought ending our episode on me reading these paragraphs would make things more clearer.
But no,
but
it just makes
I have more
confusing.
questions. Fuck. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
Do you have anything else you want to say, Puff, to wrap up this special Star Wars special episode of Too Many Movies?
Let me think. It was fun watching these again, even though they suck. Like, it was just funny to watch them again. So I actually thank you for... I actually am a little bit honored that you, like, your first thought was, like, you saw that and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna torment Puff. Like, I appreciate that, actually. I think that's funny. I think it's incredibly funny that, it's like, I am associated with 2 of the worst, like, movies ever seen because of my deep distaste and hatred of them.
Yeah.
But the thing is, unlike Hop, I actually have a soft spot for the Ewoks now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I get, like we said in the pre-show, I would sooner rewatch the Ewok movies over Hop.
Yeah.
Any day. All right. Wow, we certainly had a lot to say about the Ewok movies, Puff.
Oh yeah, there was a lot to say. There was a lot to be said about these very empty movies.
Yeah, exactly. So, please, Puff, shout out your stuff. Where can people find you? I mean, you've been here before, but just let the audience refresh their memory.
All right, so you guys can find me on Twitter at OneToughPuff with underscores beneath each word. I also have a YouTube channel where I produce vocal synth covers and originals, like Hatsune Miku, that you can also follow me there, called One Tough Puff. And I also have a Tumblr, XXX One Tough Puff XXX. I mainly just post Korokio pictures, but you can follow me on there if you want. Because, let's be honest, Twitter is dying.
Yeah.
Need another option. And Blue Sky seems to be a millennial thing. I'm gonna wait and see how that pans out before I decide if I join that boat.
Probably for the best. Yeah. All right. Well, your links will be in the description below, as per usual. Well, thank you, Puff. I'm glad you came along and talked about these crazy movies with me.
Yeah, I'm glad you invited me. It's actually nice to have someone to talk about the first one with, at least, because I wouldn't make anybody willingly watch that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, totally. I needed someone else to vent about these movies too. So, but yeah, thanks for coming on, and thank you, the listener, for listening to this podcast. If you want to support the show, give a like, give a comment, listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, or if you just want to listen to us on YouTube, that's fine too. It doesn't matter as long as people are listening. So then we're not just talking crazy about these Ewok movies by ourselves.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, thanks for listening, and always remember, Wicked.
Yep. May the 4th. May the 4th be with you.
Yeah, may the 4th be with you. I probably should have ended it like that. Okay, bye everybody.
Bye.